Imagine waking up to a world where one of America's most prestigious universities, Harvard, suddenly finds its doors slammed shut to thousands of international students. Overnight, dreams are put on hold, futures are thrown into chaos, and the very identity of Harvard is called into question. How did this happen, and what does it mean for the future of global education? To understand this extraordinary situation, let's step back for a moment. Harvard University, founded nearly 4 centuries ago, has built its reputation on global excellence and diversity. As of fall 2024, more than 27% of its student body, over 7,000 individuals, came from outside the United States. These students bring not just tuition dollars, but also diverse ideas, research partnerships, and international prestige. For decades, Harvard has thrived by attracting the world's brightest minds, and in turn, the United States has benefited from the innovations and collaborations forged on its campuses. But the winds of politics and security concerns began to shift. In May 2025, the Department of Homeland Security revoked Harvard's certification under the Student and Exchange Visitor Program, threatening the legal status of every international student enrolled. President Donald Trump issued a directive. For at least the next 6 months, foreign nationals could not enter the U.S. to study at Harvard. The official explanation? Alleged national security risks and concerns about Harvard's ties to foreign adversaries, particularly China. The administration even directed the State Department to consider revoking visas for some current students. Harvard's reaction was swift and defiant. In court filings, the university called the order unprecedented retaliation, an attempt to punish Harvard for resisting demands over campus governance and for refusing to comply with sweeping federal requests for student data. Without its international students, Harvard is not Harvard, the university declared, arguing that this ban would cause immediate and irreparable injury. Harvard President Alan Garber announced contingency plans so that affected students could continue their studies, even hinting at a possible 25% pay cut for the fiscal year 2026 to offset lost funding and resources. Meanwhile, the news sent shockwaves through academia and beyond. Student groups organized protests, claiming the ban unfairly targeted international students and threatened the core values of academic freedom. Other elite institutions, MIT, Columbia, and many more, raised their voices, warning of a chilling effect on global academic exchange. As immigration law professor Shobha Sivaprasad Wadia put it, this raises serious questions about the executive branch's authority over immigration policy and academic freedom. But the administration would not back down. White House spokesperson Abigail Jackson labeled Harvard a hotbed of anti-American, anti-Semitic, pro-terrorist agitators, fueling public anxieties and political divisions. House committees opened investigations into Harvard's research partnerships, particularly those involving Chinese universities and alleged military links. Representative Elise Stefanik demanded that Harvard be held accountable for what she described as aiding China's military modernization. As the battle heated up, a federal judge in Boston issued a temporary restraining order, blocking the entry ban, at least for now. But legal scholars warned that this was only the beginning of a much larger fight over the soul of American education. Rahul Choudhary, an international education expert, warned, "Such policies create uncertainty and damage the reputation of the U.S. as a welcoming destination for global talent." So here we stand, at a crossroads. The question is no longer just about Harvard, but about the future of American higher education, freedom of thought, and the country's standing on the world stage. Will harsh policies and political suspicion reshape the destiny of the world's top universities? Or will the courts and public outcry restore the doors of opportunity? As the next chapter of this high-stakes showdown unfolds, everyone, from students to policymakers, is left asking, what happens if Harvard loses this battle and the floodgates close for international talent in America? So, what if Harvard ultimately loses this battle and international students are shut out? The consequences could reverberate far beyond the iconic red brick walls of Cambridge. First, consider the scale. As of the fall of 2024, international students made up more than 1/4 of Harvard's student body, over 7,000 future scientists, policymakers, and innovators. Losing them overnight is not just a hit to diversity. It would mean losing billions of dollars in tuition, fees, and research funding, not only for Harvard, but for the entire higher education ecosystem in the United States. But the risks go deeper. Experts warn that a ban like this sends a chilling message to the world, that American academia is closed to global talent. Rahul Choudhary, a leading international education expert, put it this way: Such policies create uncertainty and damage the reputation of the U.S. as a welcoming destination for global talent. This atmosphere of hostility could push future leaders to study in the United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, or even China, where universities are aggressively recruiting international students. Already, applications from abroad are dropping at top U.S. schools. The pipeline of future Nobel laureates, inventors, and entrepreneurs may soon flow elsewhere. The innovation economy is especially vulnerable. Many of the startups spun out of Harvard and similar institutions are founded by international students. Without them, the United States risks losing the very people driving technological breakthroughs in artificial intelligence, biotech, and green energy. And what about the academic world itself? Cutting out nearly one-third of Harvard students would mean fewer perspectives in the classroom, smaller research teams, and less collaboration across borders. MIT and Columbia have already warned that the ripple effect could harm everything from basic science to international diplomacy. However, adversity can spark adaptation. Harvard's president, Alan Garber, has already announced contingency plans, developing digital programs, seeking new funding streams, and exploring overseas partnerships. Could Harvard set up satellite campuses abroad, or move some of its world-leading research labs offshore? It sounds far-fetched, yet in a world of political uncertainty, even the oldest institutions must innovate to survive. For viewers, this story is more than headlines or legal jargon. If you are a student, scholar, or business person, these shifts could impact the opportunities available to you. The message? In a globalized world, walls do not stop ideas, but they can change where the brightest minds choose to gather. So what can you do with this information? First, stay informed. Policies impacting universities today could shape the technological and economic landscape for decades. Second, support academic freedom and open collaboration wherever you are. Third, if you are considering where to study or invest, look for institutions that are resilient in the face of political headwinds. The finale: will Harvard and its peers weather this storm? If the courts ultimately side with the administration, U.S. academia may never look the same. But history shows that knowledge, like water, finds its own course. Even bans and barriers cannot stop the flow of ideas, though they can shift the direction of progress. Here's a secret fact. Many of the United States' most lucrative patents and prize-winning discoveries since World War II came from immigrants and international students. Cutting off that lifeblood could undermine not just universities, but the nation's own competitive edge. If you found this episode eye-opening, hit that like button and subscribe. What do you think? Should national security trump academic freedom, or is diversity in education too valuable to lose? Let us know in the comments below, and stay tuned for more stories where